you are still having problems with trading, you are not really making progress, you are not profitable, you have tried various strategies and you say, yes, somehow this whole thing is not working. Today, I'm going to show you why it's really extremely important, even crucial, to focus your strategy on just one asset. Whether it's today here, we're doing gold today, but whether it's gold or USD GBP, it doesn't matter at all if you're in the Forex sector or maybe you're in the crypto sector and you say, okay, I want to trade only Ethereum, I want to trade only maybe an altcoin or. But you precisely need to focus on trading just one single asset. What do I mean by that? Let's dive straight into the chart. And the first thing we do, whether you are a day trader, a scalper, or a swing trader, it doesn't matter at all. What I am indeed really doing here now is something everyone out there should really do and internalize. We actually start the whole thing with the monthly chart. Yes, you heard right, we need to look at the monthly chart and I'll explain exactly why. Of course, this might not have much impact for today, but we should definitely keep it in mind. Definitely. That means we simply need to recognize the big picture, and we do that today using normal supply-demand zones, which we will, in essence, of course, essentially, in essence, include. I'll explain the chart generally. The monthly chart, firstly, I mark the high here, the last candle closed, 2001. You can also say, all right, we can mark this area here as well. So the highest high was the wick. We will be able to see this even better in the smaller time frame. Now we can see very well what the chart has done. It came up here and then essentially created this area for us. Then the whole thing went short again, as expected, came all the way back up, and then respected the level once more, finally, once again. That means if we were up here in this area, we could have said, okay, in this area we have good opportunities to open a short trade on a smaller time frame, of course. I think that goes without saying. Then the whole thing came up again, which means you can see it tested this area once, tested it twice, and it worked quite well. But with this movement, it didn't build a new low. That means you can see what is building up here, a breakout. It continued to move upwards. We bring this all the way to the front, we can see it better. So this is what it looks like. So what did the chart do? It built up slowly here in the monthly chart, right? It has to be said. And then it nicely moved towards long here. Could this have been anticipated? In fact, you would have, because we have the liquidity down here on the left side in this area where many swing traders had their stop losses. What did the chart do? It was completely and utterly pushed down here. Absolutely everything was taken out, and you can see what an extremely extreme monthly candle then went in the other direction. It then went back up significantly and dramatically, taking all of the people out of their short positions, and then it continued to move towards long. What else did the chart do? It built a higher high here and so on. So the whole thing kept moving nicely upwards. One could have also drawn a trend line here, which naturally formed. As long as we are above it, we remain in an uptrend. Then one could also say, from this side here, we can draw a trend line, either briefly across or even above with the wicks, so that we say, all right, if we get above that, then the long trend continues here in this context. And what happened? Yes, the whole thing continued to go up nicely, and what we can see here very, very well, yes, very important, where we are right now, you can see here in the last candles, if you look more closely, this one went extremely up. This one has a very big wick up. The next one too, and the last candle, which we will look at a bit more closely in a moment, is of course very interesting. This is 2001 this month at the moment. But what kind of monthly chart do we have here at the moment? Yes, what could we be waiting for here? The whole thing built up down here in this area and then made the break towards long here. It's a very long time, right? Don't underestimate it. The whole thing took from 2020 to 2024, 4 years to really break out there. So what could happen now? Either we stay sideways up here, maybe it continues to go long, but if you just look at it now and think of a smaller chart, then you would say, okay, down here I have a nice zone, right? In this area here, our nice red zone, we would now simply make a buy level here and say, okay, from there the whole thing could then find support. That means down here, and from there continue long. That means this would now be the big picture we currently have in the market, meaning we have reached a level with gold where we could see a correction as we analyze the trends over the past few months in the financial sector. Of course, you don't know if it will happen and how long it will take for this reaction to actually move towards short. 2001, But what we also see is this candle here has more than a large fair value gap below in this area, so there is definitely much to gain here in imbalance. So everything down here in this area, yes, will eventually be filled in sooner or later. If we also invite the TSAT, found in the video description at the bottom, you can add the indicator here, completely in the overbought area, so we are now completely at the top. This means a correction from here is really conceivable. It could fall back down. This would also match the indicator, suggesting it could fall again. But please don't confuse this with the possibility that it could simply come down if the chart moves sideways at the top. This doesn't mean that it will happen 100%, just a little info on the side, but we should definitely keep in mind that we are still completely overbought, so the gold market is actually way too high and needs to correct a bit. 2001 is all due to the war, but what can you do? We obviously have to adapt here. So that means we have discussed the big picture. We now know where gold is. Now we go into a smaller chart, and you can already see, yes, if you had to do this with every single chart as you trade 10 currency pairs, for example. Yes, it is very, very exhausting and you don't really know where you are in the chart at the moment. So let's move over to the weekly chart and see what the weekly chart has to offer us here. In the weekly chart, we have absolutely found perfect support up here. Again, a great area where you can say, okay, from here we can trade long again. It has worked flawlessly in this area so far. This means that from a weekly perspective, we are still in a sideways phase at the moment. Who would have thought? You all have noticed this in trading as well, that gold is currently just moving in a sideways phase. We need to remember that this still exists. 1000, let's look down to the bottom left, where we have our next zone. The chart could break downwards, because where will we experience the next reaction? That's when you draw a zone down here. That would be the extreme level, so to speak, but I would also actually include the wick before it, essentially. Why the wick before that too? Well, the chart was pushed all the way down for a reason. So this would be the weekly perspective, and it still looks very bullish. Whether this continues to move sideways, it could well be that it continues to move sideways for weeks, or we might see a breakout towards short, but we will certainly notice. So, we've checked off the weekly chart here, so let's move over to the daily chart. The daily chart becomes really exciting because you can clearly see much more here. But as you can see, we already have our nice zones from the weekly chart here, and know, okay, gold has moved in these areas, made a small fake out on the daily chart up here, wanted to go further, but it didn't. What did he do? Here on the left side, he took out the liquidity in that area, meaning all the people who were oriented towards short in this area, he took them out first before he then moved towards short. That's just how it is. It's completely normal for liquidity to be taken. This applies to all time frames, whether large or small. Depending on how far you go down into smaller time frames, you'll naturally have multiple levels that could all be taken. What do we have here now? Now we are on the daily chart, and we can draw even more zones here. We could theoretically do that, but I don't do it in this area. Down here, if a daily zone simply overlaps with a weekly zone, I don't need to draw a new zone again. No, I think that makes sense so far. Otherwise, up here the zone, well, that was in the daily range area with the wicks and so on. You could say, okay, let's adjust the zone a bit and move up here into the daily zone, meaning we take this zone here because we know that up here in this area, the weekly resistance was definitely present anyway, meaning we are currently moving sideways in this area. So it's the same principle again, only now we are in the daily chart. What else do we see? The whole thing is currently forming very tightly here, so it is getting very squeezed. Of course, this can mean a lot of things right now. If we simply draw in some trend lines, we can see that we are currently at a very significant resistance level, and from there, a breakout towards the long side could occur. That could, of course, happen, well, in this area here, or the whole thing gets rejected from there and then goes back down here to the support, or maybe even completely further down, because we know the whole thing could theoretically break below here. Now, of course, we can also draw in daily zones, meaning resistance areas. So if we zoom out a bit here, we can see on the left side, okay, where the chart has consistently stalled, we can see that the area up here makes sense, maybe we should first look at it from the trend line here, as for some reason it just reversed direction there. This means we can see it very clearly on the left side as well. I'll make the zone red now so that we can distinguish it a bit better. So, this means that we have a zone where there is an extreme resistance level, otherwise the chart wouldn't have reversed here. This means we can also go ahead and shrink the arrow. The next level or point that we would theoretically trade from here with a breakout setup would be up here in this area, because gold will probably make a small correction right there first before it can go significantly higher again. That could definitely happen, or it could actually go all the way down. Now you can already hear it, or yeah, I can't look into the future either. That's absolutely and completely normal in trading. We can only work with probabilities, and I'm telling you how it is. The probability is very high that we can definitely expect a reaction up here in this area first. So in addition, we can zoom out a bit, and we can even draw this zone a little further over. This means that in this area, we definitely have a good resistance level, so we need to be careful. Then, of course, we could draw various other zones here, but which ones should I focus on now? I am focusing on this area here because the candles have repeatedly reversed at the same price level, indicating a strong resistance and support zone, so I am very confident that this area was an extremely strong support zone, which has been tested multiple times. We have seen this pattern occur again recently as we moved back above this area and continued to trend long, confirming the strength of this support zone. That means this is a very, very good area that we should mark. You can make it a bit bigger, but I don't want to make the zone too large because we will be moving to a smaller time frame shortly. So if we pull this over, we can see that it found support back here as well. Clear, perfect. We won't hit the zone exactly, we just need to get a rough picture before we move to the smaller time frame. So that was the daily chart. Now we move to the 4-hour chart, and in the 4-hour chart things get very interesting. This is where I actually trade, and you can see down here at the moment it looks very good right now, indicating a breakout continuing towards long. We have a very good imbalance on the left side here, and up there would be the next support area. This means that theoretically, if you are a breakout trader, you could trade long up to that point, or you could wait until we reach up there. If you are a smart money concept trader, then you say, okay, from there you continue trading it back towards short. You can do it however you want. There are thousands of strategies out there. Today, I just wanted to quickly show you how I approach the chart. Of course, we can take this much further. We can go from the 4-hour chart to the 1-hour chart and so on. But what do we actually know from this? We have so much information that I have now shared with you completely about the entire gold chart. We have it all in our heads now. That means when we go into our trading now, we definitely have a much better chance of taking a trade with much more confidence, significantly. We have much more confidence knowing that, okay, we have absolutely and completely done everything to ensure this trade goes in a great direction. Whether we win the trade or lose it doesn't matter at first, because what if we lose the trade anyway? Well, absolutely nothing at all, because we have simply done everything we know. We then followed all the rules. We completely used multiple time frames, meaning we considered many different time frames in our trading strategy and found our setup there and traded our setup. You see, it's all very complex and sounds like a lot of work. It is theoretically a lot of work, but if you do it every day or every week, you can prepare yourself every Sunday for the week. You can look at the chart and then know roughly where your areas are, where you want to trade, and in this way, you can definitely use it to your advantage. If you enjoyed this, please give the video a like and subscribe to this channel for free so you don't miss out on future videos. And if you're saying, no, this isn't enough for me, all this information, I want more. On my channel, there are many videos about it, and I also have a private VIP group. Get the link in the video description. You can find all the information there. Feel free to drop by. We are already over 40 people, so it's definitely worth it. You won't be alone there. If you say, no, I want to start trading now, create a demo account. I recommend Vantage, link in the video description. You even get 50% on your first deposit. I've been trading there for a long time, so I don't switch my broker because I'm satisfied. I recommend it. If you're up for it, do it. That's it from me. See you in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.